Good morning and welcome to the Coach's Corner Morning Show with Coach Jon Reutebuch. I'm Nathan Lambert, and in the booth with me this morning, I have Mr. Riley Price and Coach Jon Reutebuch. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, obviously, Warriors traveled to Warsaw last night to take on the rivals down there. Tough loss for the Warriors, ended up 22-15. Let's jump into the first quarter here, Coach. What did you tell your team before this game as you're going after this W trophy?
I'll be honest with you. I told them right before we went out, if you need me to get you going for this game, then you don't have a pulse. And so, you know, it's a W trophy. It's a rivalry game. It's an NLC game. And, you know, kids are brought up here. Warsaw is your rival. Warsaw is the team you want to beat. And you go through middle school, probably anymore, it's before middle school,
Pee-wee flag.
Yeah,
I mean,
all of it.
It's kind of all the way through the program.
Yeah, and so kids understood that. Our freshmen beat, or our seniors, I should say, as freshmen, beat Warsaw here on this field when they were first starting their high school career. And we talked a little bit about that with some of the seniors. But, yeah, I mean, they were up for it. I didn't have to do anything to get them motivated this week.
So, you know, they definitely seem to have an edge early in the game. The intensity on both sides was I mean, obviously it was homecoming for them, a little bit extra juice on their side, but the Warriors really came to play. What was the, you know, sentiment? Did the team really want to go after that W trophy last night?
Oh yeah, I mean, that definitely was on their mind. I mean, it was their homecoming. The W trophy was on at stake, and the attitudes were great coming out of the locker room. We were ready to go, and I don't think there was any doubt on their mind what the job was.
And I can say from up on top of the press box there, I mean, they had the juice. They had the, you know, as you guys do the coin toss there, they go back and jump. And I would say they were almost more measurable and what they almost were more businesslike right from the get. As you went into that first drive there, what was the plan on offense?
Well, you know, to take what they give us, we wanted to be balanced, running the ball and throwing the ball. You know, we had Mason Shoemaker back after sitting out a game, and really 2 games, when he went out early in the Concord game. And so, you know, we wanted to be able to move the football. So they always say, you know, best defense is a good offense. And so, and we want to take advantage of our opportunities. You know, pretty much the same game plan, and for the most part, we did all right. You know, they start with the opening kickoff, and I believe, if my memory serves me correctly, their kicker never let us return a kick.
Which Riley was pulling up some stats before the game. I'm pretty sure you said before the game, like 23 out of 27 of his kickoffs had ended up in the end zone before the game. So we were pretty confident that was going to be, and that was kind of the game plan from the start.
Yeah, I figured that. I mean, we didn't work much on kickoff return this week. I mean, we have our returns in. The kids know what they are, but I'm not going to spend a ton of time on something that I may never get to use. And we knew that kicker was solid. I mean, he's a Coles camp kid. I'm sure he's going to be another highly recruited kicker from Warsaw, like the Mavis brothers. But he's solid. I've seen him on film kick, and you know, I saw him in warm-ups. He's the real deal, and kind of knew that going in, that they were probably going to put it in the end zone. But we were ready if they didn't. But that's a great weapon to have. I mean, every offensive series, you're going to start on the 20 when they kick off. And so the other way you negate that is you don't give them chances to kick off very often, you know. And so that was the hope, at least.
So how does that affect you? You know, with Tinky and Bontrager back there, how does that take that edge of your game away?
They are playmakers, and kickoff return is definitely something that we've worked on and we've had some big plays out of, and it's part of the game strategy. I mean, a lot of teams will take that away from you. They don't want to give up that big play, and they don't want to give you that field position. I mean,
they want you to start at the 20 every time, so it's just mundane.
Sure. And if I had the same weapon, I would put it in the end zone every time too. And we're getting to the point now in high school football where it's almost rare not to have somebody that can do something like that. I mean, we're not there yet. We got a couple guys that can do it in practice, but not consistently in a game. But, you put the ball deep, and if you got a coverage unit that can get down there, which we do, or you have a guy that can just put it in the end zone, it's a great advantage. That's percentages. Your percentages go way down when you got to drive 80 yards to score. And so big weapon to have. But we start our first drive, move the ball, and then we get to a fourth and a yard and a half. And, we went into this game being aggressive. We're going to be aggressive, and probably a place where I should have punted, but we want to take advantage of that hype, and the kids were ready to go, and we thought, well, we could get a yard and a half, and it didn't happen. They shut it down and gave them the short field, and they drove right down and scored 7-0, and our kids didn't blink at all.
The body language on the side was like, no panic. Hey, we went for it on fourth. We gave them a short field. We're ready to go. What was did you have to say anything to your team, your offense going back out there?
Actually, the first time I see him is on kickoff return.
Wait, yeah.
And so a lot of those guys are on kickoff return, and I just said, a lot of game left, and they just shook their head, yep. And that's the one thing they do really well is they have learned because of repetitive speeches and reminders that you can't do anything about the last play. You can't do anything about
Next
anything in the past. You got to keep going forward, and they're getting that, and that's a huge bonus because in the past we've had teams that when something goes down bad, they get their heads down, and all of a sudden one bad play turns into two bad plays and three bad plays, and they get a run on you. That doesn't happen with this team.
It doesn't, and the one thing that I can say last night throughout the entire defense was a lot of times there was a man on a man to stop that flex bone. It's 1v1, one linebacker filling one hole. And time again, our linebackers came to play and were disciplined. What was the practice? I mean, how do you prepare for an offense like that? It's such a unique one to begin with.
It's eye discipline. It's every guy has to do their own job and trust that his teammates are going to do their own job. That's why the flex bone is a very effective offense. It depends on high school kids to do their 111 each play and be very disciplined about it. And that's how you rep it in practice. I mean, we have a drill we do without a ball. You just go to your assignment and you just rep it and rep it and rep it. And, our kids saw what we practiced all week, and Warsaw, they run what they run, and they run it well. And if you can stop it, good for you. But
if not, we're going to still run the same.
We're going to run it right over you. So that's how it goes.
Now I have a little mark here that kickoff was important, and I believe that is the kickoff that Warsaw tried the surprise onside. Is that
correct? That is correct. Yep. And so I knew that. In the years that Bart's been there, they've onsided us many times. Last year we got them. We onsided to the opening kickoff and got it.
I remember that, yeah.
So, going in this game, there's going to be something special. I usually have something up my sleeve for them, and I did have something up my sleeve for them. I had the opportunity hit, but, last year was an onside kick. I think the first year we played Bart, we had a fake punt that went for big yardage, and we ended up scoring on. So, I mean, going in, they're going to try something, we're going to try something. And so I warned the kids. I told the front wall, this is a key place where they're going to try an onside. Look for the onside. And I don't know if they were just caught in the moment or didn't pay attention, but we bailed, and the onside kicked and got the ball back, and they have another short field. Boom, boom, right in a row. And so, our kids, to their credit, they bowed their neck, and they stopped them at the 4-yard line on fourth down. And the great thing is, we stopped them on the 4-yard line, fourth down. They don't score. Now we got to get out of there.
Now you're starting from there.
We got to get out of there.
Hey, 96 yards to go. It's just a short drive.
Well, you at least got to get it out of there to try to flip the field, and that's exactly what we did. The second time we had the ball, we moved the ball to near midfield, and then we had to punt. And Reed Reidenbach got a great punt off. It was over 50 yards, and our coverage was down there, shooing it further down the field, bleeding it out, as
Reed
I always
had
say.
A great game. I mean, he really, I Tinky did, a very good job last week of stepping in and filling in for punting duties, but Reed came back in, and, I mean, he didn't miss a step.
No, he's been punting all season, and sometimes sitting out a game helps you get perspective, and so when you get back in there, you're going to give your all. I mean, Reed had 9.5 tackles on defense, and he was out there on offense, and he's all over the place. And he's a high energy kid. He's a good athlete, and he brought it on the punt. And we'll get to later a little improvisation on the punt as well. So we got them backed up, and we're stuffing a couple plays, and they're still with their backs to the end zone. And they have a missed exchange, and they fumble, and we hop on it, and boom, we're right back in it, 7-6. Again, we yanked the PAT, which has been a problem all season, and we're working on that. We have some inexperience in that area, and it's unfortunate, but again, the kids did not flinch because of that. It was still, they were high up. They were excited. We're back in it. We just recovered a fumble on them and for a touchdown. And, again, that was Payton Sewell. He'll be here today to talk about himself and the game. And so, great way to respond. We stop them at the 4. And
flip the field,
get the ball
get them
backed
then,
up.
Hey, we're going to go and put this ball in the end zone.
Yeah, unfortunately get a turnover, and we end up scoring out of it. So then we go to kick it off, and Dane is supposed to kick it deep. That's our kicker, Dane Sigler, a soccer guy that started kicking for us this year, and gets under it a little bit, and it's a little bit short, and it gives them problems, and they end up mishandling it, and we recover at the 25-yard line. I mean, they have a boom boom, and now we have a boom boom. And so it's pretty wild. And so we have the ball at the 25-yard line, and we move it a little bit, and then we make a throw that's probably not the throw we want to make, and they pick it off. And so there's a missed opportunity, and that's something you can't do because you don't know in playing flexbone teams how many opportunities you're going to get. And fortunately for us, our defense did a good job of not letting them eat up, a whole quarter, which they're capable of doing. And so, but when you have those opportunities, you got to take advantage of those.
You have to take advantage of it, especially when they're able to eat up that clock. I will say the defense played extraordinarily well last night against that option style offense, and being disciplined and playing their 1-11.
Yeah, absolutely. Defense the last couple of weeks has been solid. Really, take out one game, the defense has been solid all season.
All season.
They have. I'll just throw out there, Tippy Valley and West Noble won last night. They're still undefeated, and their lowest scoring output and their toughest game was us. And so we felt like the defense is pretty strong, and it's been our strength all season. And like I said, take out one game, and it's pretty impressive.
It's something to say when your non-conference opponents, Tippy Valley, West Noble, then go on to be undefeated. This is a tough schedule all season long.
And Tippy Valley's not taking on, no chumps either. They went down to West Lafayette, which is kind of known for football down there, especially in that area, and took them to the woodshed.
Yes, absolutely. And West Noble, I mean, that everybody was calling that the conference championship game. So unless something weird happens, they're probably going to finish the season undefeated. So, those are two really, really good teams that we had the opportunity to beat. And so, that's where we're at. And playing those tough teams helps us adjust the way we attack. And so we're getting it now, and we're playing well against good NLC teams.
Well, that does it for our first segment here on Coach's Corner. When we come back, we will continue talking about the Warsaw game. And then coming up in our third segment, we will have Brandon Kelly and Payton Sewell as our interviewees this week. And then we'll wrap it up in our last segment talking about NorthWood. This is the Coach's Corner football show on 93.7 FM The Mix. And welcome back to segment 2 of the Coach's Corner of Football show on 93.7 FM The Mix. Now, Coach, when we got off of segment 1, we were wrapping up the drive you had at the 25-yard line. Unfortunately, Warriors weren't able to punch it in there after the turnover. Let's finish up that half real quick.
Yeah, so, they're driving the football and they're doing what they do, the option football, and they have a good run, and we pop it out. We force a fumble, and Payton Sewell recovers it again. The second fumble he's recovered in the game, and so we pick up the ball. I believe it was around the midfield area, and we pick up first down, move the ball a little bit, and then we took a sack, and then we had a penalty, and those are the mental mistakes we can't make. The sack. We could have got rid of the ball and not lost all that yardage. I believe it was like 2nd and 1 when we took the sack, and then we got a penalty, and now we're way behind the sticks. So we have to punt, and unfortunately we had an errant snap. It was low, and Reed's a baseball player, so I give him a hard time that you need to stay down on that. But it got behind him, and he ran back there, picked it up, and ran to the open area as he's been trained to do. I mean, we've talked about this. We've gone through this, that, pick that ball up, get to an open area, and get it off. And it went from I figured it up last night looking at film that it was going to be a 27-yard loss into a 15-yard punt.
And let me tell you, he had a Warsaw defender right on him when he picked up that ball.
Absolutely.
And kind of made a shifty move to the right and got to the open space. But there was a second there I was like, there is no way he gets this ball off. And then he found grass and got it off.
Yeah, it's don't panic. And he knew what to do. And he,
And he's already so athletic, too. That had to help him.
It does help. It helps a lot, And, he got that punt off. And a 15-yard punt, normally you'd cringe. But in that situation, I'll take that any day over a 27-yard loss.
Disaster absolutely averted.
Absolutely. So, they move a ball a little bit more, and then we get a big tackle for loss. Hunter Tinky on their rocket toss. Six a guy in the backfield, puts them behind the sticks, and we make them punt. And I make emphasis on that because it's very rare to get those guys to punt.
What was the stat last night, Riley?
Before the game, they had played, I think it was 6 games, and they had 7 punts. So we forced them to punt last night.
Twice.
That is something to say about this team.
And
7 punts in 6 games.
And you know what I've been telling Coach Japes this week? If we can make them punt twice in the whole game, if we can make them punt twice, we're going to be right where we need to be. And lo and behold, that's what we did.
Exactly.
It was right there.
And so... then we make them punt. We get the ball back, and we get a first down. Then we get another first down. We get them to jump. We mixed up our snap counts pretty well.
The hard count was very effective last night, and
really
the discipline for the offense to not get a false start, I don't believe at all last night.
No, I know.
I mean, that was beautiful.
Yeah, and that helped us get us first downs. It also helped slow down their pass rush, and it really was effective last night. So we get a couple first downs, and then again we take another sack. But we overcome it, and we hit Bontrager for another first down. We spike it. This time Shoemaker does a good job of not taking a sack, and he throws it away to give us the opportunity. And we had to throw it at that point anyway because we were out of timeouts. And, you don't want to leave points on the field because you can't get your field goal team out there fast enough. And so we decided to throw it and didn't get anything out of it. And we bring Reed Reidenbach in. He's our field goal guy, and he's already hit, I think he's 2 of 3 on the season. Comes in and nails the field goal. And we're up 9-7. And we have to kick off to him, and we do a good job of making sure we get him down, and we go into halftime leading 9-7, which I'm sure sent some shockwaves around the conference.
I mean, just I will say up in the booth there was some uneasiness from the Warsaw faithful that they're like, well, wait a minute, this was supposed to be way the other way. What's going on here?
Oh, I think that was going on their sideline, too.
There was definitely some conversation we were having. Like, it's always great to see Wawasee go into the lead with halftime, and you can just feel everyone around us was just, how dare you say that in our press box?
Yeah. Good feeling. And it's it's exciting. It's fun to watch, and the fans that made their way, we appreciate them. Thank you for being at the game, and they were loud and vocal, and we could hear them, and you could definitely feel the Warsaw side a little bit of uneasiness, and that's a great thing to do.
I just want to point out here in a minute we'll be interviewing Brandon. There was multiple times last night that I saw him go and hype up the crowd and just really be a leader.
Yeah. The kids, they want that support. They thrive on that support, and they, that's part of their emotion in the game. And, that's a good thing. They're also getting each other up and talking on the sideline, hey, let the defense hear it, and that kind of stuff. And so that's great enthusiasm, and that's where, a team comes together. We break on family all the time now. And so, guys are rooting for each other and want to do well. So, second half, we come out and make a kicking change, and Reed's going to kick off for us. And the idea was to squib it down the right side, and he got under it a little bit and pops it up on the front line, and they don't cover it very well. And we recover the football. Steal a possession right off the bat.
How many games can you think of that there's 2 onside kicks?
Not very many.
I mean, generally, the odds of getting 1 are pretty low, and then 2. I mean, I think Pat McAfee did it one time, but I mean, I'm trying to think of all the games, and that's pretty rare occurrence.
Probably the difference, though, this time was theirs was planned and ours wasn't.
Well, that's true.
But that also, that's also going to show you that, hey, we're getting some breaks here that, you don't normally get, and so let's take advantage of this. And, I was kidding around before the game, and, we were receiving the kickoff to start the game. I said, I'll go ahead and take it the second half, too. Thanks a lot, Bart. And I started walking away, and, that actually came to fruition. We did actually get the ball twice. And so
he's got to be sitting there on the sideline like, was he trying to tell me that he was kicking an onside?
Yeah. So, we got the ball. We get a first down, and, we throw another pick. And those are the opportunities you got to take advantage of. And, that's unfortunate. But, again, our kids don't get down by it. They come out to play each and every play and forget that last one. And on the first play, we force a fumble. Brandon Kelly comes slamming in there and rips it out, and then we got the ball, deep in their territory now, and so that missed opportunity now becomes an opportunity again, and we get the ball at the 13, and we're able to convert on a TD pass from Shoemaker to Dallas Miller to score, and the card says go for 2, so that's what we did. We went for 2, and unfortunately we didn't get it, but now we're up 15-7 to start the second half, and that's huge. And the emotion and the excitement on our sideline was great.
Chirping on the Warsaw started to get. I mean, you could tell. I mean, there were some fans that were starting to say some things that were like, well, they were really getting under their skin now.
Yeah, and their coaches, their players, they were starting to feel pretty uneasy at that point. But solid coaching staff, veteran coaching staff, and they have a good team, and so you knew they were not going to just let this go, and we're going to get their best shot. So we kick off to them. They have a penalty, so they have to start at their own 20, and they run a few plays, and we're able to stop them on 4th down. And that's another key, because flexbone teams will often go on 4th down because they feel like they can get, if it's 4th and short, they feel like they can pick that up, and a lot of times do. And I don't know if you have any stat for that, but they pick up a lot of 4th down plays, and that just extends the drives, the defense having to play more and more. And with a team like ours where we got guys going both ways, that can really wear you down. And so huge play of stopping them a couple times on 4th down.
And once, I believe it was on like the 2-yard line, it was 4th and goal, I think from like the 2 or 3. I mean, that is what Warsaw's offense is built for, and the discipline that it took by that Warrior defense to stop it. I mean, it's impressive to say the least.
It's we're bending but not breaking. And, when it's time to rise up, we're doing that, rising up. So on our third drive, we get the ball on the plus 40, a short field, but they end up stopping us on downs at 36. And again, 36 is not quite the red zone, but boy, it's deep in their territory, and it's another opportunity. And we just got to pick up those first downs. We just got to get that and extend drives and complete drives. That would have been a golden opportunity to really put the pressure on them. And we just didn't get it done. And when we finally figure that out, we're going to be a tough team to beat. They drive down the field after that, and they score, and they go for 2 to tie it, and the defense again rises up. Hunter Tiki made a great reaction. He was
off the ball. He was beat.
He was totally beat. And then he had to use his track speed to get there, and
boy, did he!
And pick it off. It was pretty impressive play, and the most important thing is we denied him that 2-point conversion, so we still have the lead, 15-13. Again, they kick it in the end zone. Don't give us any opportunity to return it. We have the ball on the 20 to start that drive, and then again we're stopped on 4th down, and that was a situation where every kid in the huddle said, "Coach, it's only an inch. We can get it." I mean, every kid's face was, and they were adamant about it. And, typically you think better because you're the adult and you know what's going on. And in that field position, we probably should have punted away. But you also got to believe in your team. And when
and a rivalry
game, and they're ready to go, and they said we can get an inch, we can get this, coach. And so we went for it, and we didn't get it, and so now we got to pay the consequences. They got the ball deep in our territory, and you know what? The defense rose up again and kept them to a field goal, which they made, and now they're up 16-15. But it's a 1-point ball game, and by no means is it over. And so, again, that's, they wanted to go. They wanted to try to get that inch, and unfortunately we weren't able to do that. But we were able to bow our neck and rise up again and hold it to a field goal. And I got the kickoff return team out there, and I'm like, boys, this is a win. I even told that to Coach Japes. That was a win. To hold them to a field goal.
I mean, that really gave the Warriors a chance there. I mean,
absolutely.
They scored a touchdown there. That's back-to-back touchdowns, and I mean, no matter how much momentum you have, that's going to take a hit on your sideline.
Absolutely. And so, they kick off again to us, and it's a touchback. It's a broken record, I know. And then on that drive, we take a sack and fumble, and that's on our 13, on 13. And so what you were just talking about then comes to fruition on the next series. They end up scoring a touchdown on the next play. I mean, boom, boom, right away. And but, we got good pressure on the PAT. Hunter was right there and caused them to push it a little bit, and they missed the extra point. Mm-hmm. And so it's still a 1-score game with a 2-point conversion. And so it was at that point I told Coach O, I said, find your best 2-point conversion play, because when we score, we're going for the win. And so
we were talking about that on air, whether or not you would go for it. And I said, you're against your rival. You've played a heck of a game. Why not go for the win?
Absolutely.
At this point?
And I've done that before. A couple of years ago over at Goshen, we could have kicked the extra point and tied it, but we went for the win. It didn't work out for us, but I don't know. I'm aggressive that way. I want to win. And so sometimes, you judge your team too. Can you win it in overtime, or what's the momentum and things like that. But it seems like in that situation, we want to go for the win.
Especially, you talked about that 4th and inches, and the team decided that they wanted to go. So, like, your hands were kind of tied there. I think in that given situation, we'll be able to go for 1 and tie it, or go for 2 and take the win. I think even the team's going to take the win all day long.
Oh, yeah. I don't think that would have been a hard sell at all.
It would have probably been more of like, hey, calm down. We still have to run the play.
Yeah. Well, there was a couple times when I had to say that, but there was a couple of players saying that, hey, this isn't over yet. We got a lot of game yet. And, because kids were getting excited. Things were going our way. And so there were some more mature minds that said, hey, you know, we got to buckle down. We can't lose focus. And so that's great when it's come from not only the coach, but it's come from the players. And that's a sign of leadership. So they kick off to us again, and again, it's a touchback. And our next drive, we're moving it with some short passes, which was what they were giving us. Then we had our trick play that we had up our sleeve, and Bontrager launches it down the field to Pike on a great catch.
Pike had 3 players, 2 in front of him, 1 behind him, and made that catch.
Yeah,
I still don't know how he did it.
Yeah, I mean he's the kind of guy that you can trust in that situation to go up and get it. I mean he's that guy for us.
He's definitely that possession boundary wide receiver that you hear about in the college game.
Yeah, and he does a great job with that. So we got the ball in the 19. We're in business. We're in the red zone. We got to score that. And again, unfortunately, we throw a pick, and we hold them, and we force them for the second punt. Again, giving ourselves a chance. We get the ball at the plus 40, get a first down at the 30, and then safety made a great play.
I mean, I was trying to explain it on air. It was such a bang-bang play. Both the players were basically coming and hit together right as that ball came, and they, at one point, both almost had possession of the ball, and it just kind of was ripped out by the Warsaw kid at the last second.
Yeah, he just made a great break on that, and that was pretty much it. And so, we had our opportunities, and, we just couldn't quite get over that and take advantage of that.
Well, last night, Wawasee falls to Warsaw 22-15. Great game played by the Warriors. That'll kind of wrap our discussion up on Warsaw. Coming up in our next segment, we will have players Brandon Kelly and Payton Sewell in to interview. This is the Coach's Corner Football Show on 93.7 FM The Mix. And welcome back to the Coach's Corner Football Show on 93.7 FM The Mix. Now, in our last 2 segments, we talked about Warsaw. Now let's switch our focus to some player interviewers. We have in the studio right now inside linebacker Brandon Kelly. Welcome to the booth.
Thank you for having me.
Now, I've gotten the privilege of coaching you before. What's the feeling of being a senior now?
Bittersweet. I'm just scared. I don't want to stop playing football.
I 100% understand that. My career came to an end here at Wawasee, and unfortunately I had a knee injury that couldn't let me play in the next level. What are your plans coming up for next year?
I'm not sure yet. I'm focused week by week. We got NorthWood this week, senior night. One step at a time.
That's a great line, and that's real Bill Belichick stuff. On to the next game. Good. Brandon had 10 tackles against Warsaw, forced fumble recovery, and probably 2 of the biggest hits you're going to see in high school football.
There were that second one, I believe it was in the third quarter. They ran a toss play to the left, and I don't think that running back ever saw you until you had decleated him on the field.
Brandon, tell us a little bit about, as linebacker, what your mindset is. And last couple of weeks, you've played at a very high level at linebacker. So talk to the audience about what your mindset is and what you're doing.
I think it's a fact of who wants it more, who's going to be more physical, and I just don't think if I play at my best, I don't think anybody can match me physicality wise. I'm coming now and I'm coming hard. So,
and that's against a team like that, you can't stand. You got to be in attack mode, uber aggressive, and I think our inside and outside linebackers did that, and I think they've been doing that for the last couple of weeks, and that's helped us on the defensive side of the ball.
Now, Brandon, you've always kind of had that bruiser mentality, and what have you been able to expand on that as you've gone through your career here at Wawasee?
I'm not really sure. It's just always been there, I feel like it's just like a man on a man every play, and if I were to not be that way, it would just be like letting a man be more man than me, and I just don't think I'd ever be able to do that.
Yeah, Brandon, you had a little bit of a scare earlier this season with the knee sprain Plymouth game, and it was early on. Tell us about that and what that had an effect on you.
Yeah, it made me cherish my senior year a little bit more. I thought it might be able to been taken away from me. It was just scary.
And you've come back with a force with that, and you still wear that knee brace, but I think it's getting better and better. You're always going to be sore after a game, but you seem pretty solid in your movements, and doesn't seem like it's slowing you down too much. Just ask that Warsaw running back.
I'm sure he's feeling it more than I am.
Yeah,
So.
I think he had to sit out the rest of the game. I think they took his helmet away. So
it's always better to be the hammer than being the nail.
Yeah, oh yeah, and that definitely was the case. Brandon, you also are running back, and talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I enjoy running back. Warsaw's defense is great. Hard to run the ball on. They were giving up the middle of the field passing wise. They rallied to the football. They were hard to run the football on.
Yeah,
Their defense was good.
Yeah, they are. They're pretty solid, and we knew that going in, and we had to take what they gave us. And so, but we're still going to run the ball, and we're still going to try to run the ball. And week to week, it just depends. It might be throwing, it might be running. And, see what the defense gives us and what we can take advantage of. And you share that job at running back with
My little brother, Barrett Kelly.
And there you go. And they also are co-inside linebackers together, and it's quite a funny sight sometimes because they have that sibling rivalry going, and they get on each other's case, and it just kind of makes you chuckle a little bit.
They have that sibling rivalry, but I also notice when either one of them makes the play, the first person that's going over there and hyping them up is their brother.
Oh, yeah.
So
I don't think anybody celebrates each other's big plays any more enthusiastic than the other brother. So, it's hype, and they get each other going, and they get on each other, but it's because they want to play to the best of their ability, and they want to get after it. And, Our linebacker play has been key to our success on defense. Absolutely.
Here's my question for you. What do you enjoy more, linebacker or running back?
As of late, I think linebacker, but I'm not going to take away running back. I like running the ball too.
You like being on the field.
Yeah.
You don't like ever coming off the field,
no,
do you?
No.
Well, I have to say, I just want to commend you for your leadership skills. Last night, multiple times, you were over there hyping up the crowd and really getting the student section into it. And I think that, as a former coach, I think that's been the biggest growth I've seen in you is you've really taken on the leadership role of the running backs and linebackers. How do you think that has transpired throughout your career?
The joy to win and the hate to lose. I think if you get your guys rallying, it's hard to beat that. You can't measure heart. You can't teach heart. You got to just get them rallying, get them going.
I've noticed a growth in you, just this year, and you said some great things I've heard you say. I don't know if you even know that or pay attention that I'm listening to you, but your motivation for your teammates has evolved, to a point where they're very supportive, very enthusiastic, and very mature of, hey, we got a lot of game to play yet. Let's focus and those kind of things. And I think that plays well with your younger brother, who this is his first year varsity full-time. And, that's what senior leaders do. They make sure that they keep everybody focused and keep everybody up, and he's evolved quite a bit this senior year, and he understands what it means to be a senior. And I've heard you say several times, this is my senior year, guys. I don't want to waste it. Let's make sure we're playing hard. And all the seniors really have been rallying the guys, and I think it's shown on the field.
Well, thank you so much for joining us this morning, Brandon. Now we will go to our second interviewer, and that is Payton Sewell. Well, welcome to the booth, Payton Sewell.
Morning.
What position do you play for the Warriors?
Honestly, I play outside linebacker, but I've been everywhere. I was supposed to be a little bit tight end last night, but I wasn't needed there, but I mostly go where I'm needed.
I will say, just on the defensive side of the ball, it seems like you are almost always where the ball is every single play. What goes into your preparation week to week?
The coaches, they make us rally to the ball. If we don't rally, we have up downs. So that honestly is a big part of me being there after the play.
Payton's not joking. He has played a lot of positions. He's played running back for us. He's played wing back for us. This week he trained at tight end in case we needed him to play some tight end with Donovan being out this game. And then on the were you a lineman as a freshman?
No, yeah, and my sophomore year.
And your sophomore year?
Yeah, Hunter Kunish got hurt, so I went to center.
He's
I
literally
remember that.
seen just about everything except for maybe fast receiver and quarterback, although he would offer up to be that anytime we wanted him to. And then on the defensive side of the ball, he's mainly outside linebacker, but he's moved inside to inside linebacker. And in last night's defense, it's probably a typical safety position in our diamond defense, but he's playing it like a linebacker, and so he's not kidding when he said he's been all over the place. A little special happening last night for you, Payton. I get it from a good source that you mentioned that you have never scored a touchdown in a high school game, and you got an opportunity to do that last night. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I played the line, so I haven't really had the chance. And then I was talking to one of the coaches. I'm like, I never got a career touchdown. I was kind of salty when you guys took me out on the goal line last week. And they're like, hey, it's not done yet. And then I think second quarter, I got my touchdown.
Yeah, you were in great position. They were running the counter, and you were going to light that guy up, and they had a missed exchange, and the ball's on the ground, and you just reacted like you should react.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we practiced those fumble drills and things like that, and you jumped on that for your first career touchdown. What was that feeling like?
In the moment, it felt good. Right now, it's bittersweet since we lost, but it's kind of hard to be mad after you get a touchdown. Like, I don't know. It's a weird feeling.
Were you pretty jacked up at that point?
Oh, yeah. They always say, act like you've been there. It's hard to.
Well, I can say I never scored a touchdown, and I don't believe you ever scored a touchdown, Riley. And I will say that's a cool thing and a memory that you'll have for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Yeah, you won't forget that, especially against the rival game against Warsaw.
Yeah,
It'll be what you tell to the Warsaw kids when you talk to them later of, oh, yeah, that's what happened in the game. Yeah, but I scored on you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Payton had 7.5 tackles, and am I correct on this? Was it 3 fumble recoveries?
Oh, yeah. I counted them.
You had the triple and one for a touchdown, so that's an impressive night. And, you're very accurate when you say that Payton seems to be around the ball quite a bit. And, talking about Brandon on the inside and Payton on the outside, Dawson Schmucker and Barrett Kelly, those guys have played solid linebacker for us the last couple of weeks, and that's made a huge difference in our defense.
Now, Payton, enough about your football stuff for now. What is your next step in life here after school?
I'm probably gonna go. I'm gonna go to trade school. As much as I want to go to college and play for more football, I don't think I'd do more schooling.
I understand that, and trade school is such a great way to get a head up in life. What trade do you want to go to?
I've been looking at them. I'm actually gonna go on a few job shadows here soon and see which one I'm gonna officially pick.
What is your trade that you want to get into?
Right now, it's electrician.
Electrician. Oh,
that's a really good field to get into.
I need to stay in touch with you. I may need you down the road.
I was gonna say, I think I need a whole house rewire coming up. So,
Payton, talk about the mentality of the team right now and where we're at. I mean, we've had 2 games where we've gone toe-to-toe with the best in the conference. There is now a 3-way tie between Northridge, Mishawaka, and Warsaw. And we played 2 of those teams the last 2 weeks. And, just you tell me, where is the mentality of the team and you?
I think we're starting to figure it out. Like, it's been flat when we came out, and then we had 2 players who were out, and they're like, hey, let's get this locker room hype. And then we came out, and we performed. So I think it's pretty high.
What's that do to your confidence to know that you went toe-to-toe with those two teams and had an opportunity to win both of those games? And it wasn't because they overpowered us or they're that much better than us. It was just we made some mistakes that we got to clean up, right?
Mm-hmm. Sectionals weeks, we're going to have it. We're going to come back and hopefully get it. So
we got NorthWood next.
Yep.
And
senior night.
Senior night. Confidence is high. We can go to toe with those guys too, and we got. Can you believe it? 2 more regular season games.
Yeah, I've been thinking about that.
You try not to get too caught up in that. There's going to be plenty of time for looking back. Eventually, your senior year is going to go super fast, and live in the moment and enjoy what we're doing. It looks like you're enjoying what you're doing. It looks like we all are. So keep that going. And he mentioned a important thing that we've been stressing is we want to be peaking at sectional time. We want to make a run in the tournament. So that is the goal.
Well, thank you so much for joining us this morning at Payton. This has been segment 3 of the Coach's Corner Football Show on 93.7 FM The Mix. And welcome back to the Coach's Corner Football Show on 93.7 FM The Mix. Well, now let's turn our discussion to next week, Coach. NorthWood coming to town next Friday. Obviously, it's senior night. Game starts at 7 o'clock. Our coverage will start at 6:30. What can you tell me about the NorthWood Panthers?
They're electric offensively. Anybody that follows high school football knows that NorthWood's had a storied tradition. They have a high-powered passing attack. Nitro Tuggle, Division I recruit. They also have a move-in from Warren Central, who's also a Division I recruit. And they have a lot of very capable athletes on that team. And their quarterback, Owen Rader, is very capable as well to spread the ball out to all those targets. And so it presents a different type of challenge. We go from a fight in a phone booth to you better cover the field. And they got playmakers that can burn you on any play and score on you fast. And so it is a different animal altogether, and that's the challenge in the NLC. You face everything from the flex bone to an all-out spread. And so that's going to be a challenge. And then you have the NorthWood defense, who, like Warsaw, flies to the football. Very capable defense. It should look familiar. It's the same front as we have, and so that's the challenge. And we welcome NorthWood over to the Warrior Field, and it's senior night, and so I imagine some of the seniors' emotions will be high. And we just come off of 2 games where we went toe-to-toe with the best in the conference, and so I think the kids are confident that we can go toe-to-toe with NorthWood as well.
How many total seniors are on this team this year?
We have 11 seniors.
Wow, that's a pretty good number, right?
Well, you like to have more. I mean,
just from biology, as men mature, as they get up to that 17, 18, they start getting a little bit more, developed. So that's got to also help you too, right?
Well, here's the key. If you get kids playing in your program for 4 years, by their senior year, they should be able to contribute at a high level. Now, not everyone is going to be able to do that. And it's just like the same thing in the classroom. Everybody's not at the same ability. But, we have 10 seniors that really play a ton, a lot. And so that's huge. So it's not always the number of seniors you have. It's how many that really contribute heavily. And so we have to, a great number would be, anywhere from 15 to 20, and we're getting there. We had one year where we had 6, and only 4 of them had played football for 4 years, and one of them was a kicker. And so that's tough.
It kind of puts you behind the 8 ball. Too,
yeah,
just
it's a
with
little tough.
Leadership
and the younger guys got to step up. Those juniors, a lot of them that's their first year in varsity, and that's really tough to do. So we have a good senior class. This senior class, they had, I think they only lost one game as a freshman group. They were successful in middle school, so they've won before. They know that mentality. They have that confidence, and so that's very important for our team this year. Junior class is a little bigger as far as numbers, and so we have 11 seniors this year.
So you said Northwood likes to throw the ball all around. How is that different from our offense? Because we do the similar offense, correct?
No, not really. Our offense is we would like to be balanced. Again, you take what the defense gives you and what's working and what's successful. But I would say they do run the ball, but they're more spread than we are. He's put up some incredible passing attempt numbers. Although last night I think we threw the ball 42 times, which is a lot for us. We had 250 yards of offense. Shoemaker had 22 of 42 for 191 yards and a TD. But when you put the ball in the air, the old adage, guys that want to run the football is there's three things that can happen when you throw the ball, and two of them are bad. So you got to be effective with it, and they have. They'll throw short, they'll throw long, they'll spread you out, they'll do all kinds of things, and we do pass it, and yes, that's some of our strengths, but that's not what we're totally predicated on. Our defense against the pass has been pretty good so far this year. We feel like that we can match up well with them. Our back end is track guys and guys that are probably the better athletes on our team, and so we're hoping we can come up with a really good plan, and our kids have proven that they can go toe-to-toe with anybody in the conference, and it's senior night, so I look for a great game with us in Northwood this year.
So the last part of this schedule, you have Warsaw, who does the flex bone, Northwood, who spreads it out like no other, and then Mishawaka does a flex bone as well. I was just looking at some stats. They have 1,500 yards passing on this season so far, but every single one of their receivers has over a 12-yard average on completion on max preps. That is absolutely incredible. But from a coaching perspective, how do you go from that flex bone to the spread back to the flex bone? What are you telling your players to prepare for this totally different offense from last week?
It's a flip of the script. And remember, we just played Northridge, who's kind of more of a passing.
Similar,
yeah. They're probably closer to what we do than what Northwood does. And so you go from Northridge, who throws a lot, but can run the ball capably, to the flex bone, and then to Northwood, who's spreading it all over the field, and back to the flex bone. And that's a challenge in the NLC, and you just got to get up for it, and it's a mindset. That doesn't change what we want to do as far as being physical. It just changes the strategy on how you're going to attack it. This week's practice was it's a very simple script. There wasn't a whole lot for the defense to draw up. It was about assignment football and doing your 111, that kind of thing. Now, you play a passing team, you talk about pass rush, you talk about coverage, you talk about all those things. And so it's a different animal, and it goes into a whole different mindset of coaching. I mean, I can't remember the stats, but we held Northridge way under their average in passing, and and last night I think they had 23 yards passing, and they're not a passing team anyway, but they had 296 total yards, 273 rushing. If you can keep a flexbone team under 300, that's pretty good.
At least giving yourself a chance, right?
Absolutely, and then we did that. So we're going to have to be. It's more of a balance thing. Flexbone is just toe-to-toe, like a fight in a phone booth, that kind of thing. When you're playing a Northridge and a Northwood, you got to cover both areas. You got to cover the run, you got to cover the pass, and they have some capable runners. It's not like we're going to just go into total pass defense mode. We got to be able to play the run as well, or they'll tear us up that way as well. And then offensively, we got to be able to move the ball on offense and take advantage of those opportunities. When we have an advantage to score, we gotta score, and we got to put points on the board and put pressure on that other team, and that's how you win.
They Northwood last or I guess last night, played Mishawaka, had an overtime win against them 43-42. Obviously, they're able to go with some of the best in the NLC. How do you think this week will go in terms of them kind of rebounding from the big win and that? Do you think there'll be any relapse on their judgment?
Well, you think they might have been a little down. When they played Warsaw Flexbone team, it didn't go their way. Warsaw beat them down pretty good. They lost a tight game to Northridge. Again, it goes back to us too. You could go one of two ways. After our Concord game, what are we going to do?
Yeah, it goes back to what we said earlier.
Yeah.
Any given Friday, it's the NLC. You better come to play.
Absolutely, and it doesn't matter what your record is. Case in point, last night. So you better come ready to play each week. And NorthWood is a storied program that rises to the occasion. And I think most people probably assumed that Mishawaka was going to be able to impose their Flexbone will on NorthWood, judging from the Warsaw game. And as we can see, that's not the case. You better bring your A game every week. I don't care what the record is, because if you don't, you're going to get beat.
I'm willing to say, you mentioned the NorthWood Warsaw game and defense and that Flexbone not giving up 300 yards to the Flexbone, which is a win. I'm willing to say that our defense is able to play that type of defense far better than Northwood is able to. But I'm even more excited about this game, specifically being that they spread out that offense. Our DBs, like you said, are athletes. They're the track guys. They're the ones, the playmakers. I'm excited to see how they can match up against this high-powered offense and really those two D1 commits against this team.
Yeah, I feel like our defense is pretty well balanced. I mean, sometimes you have bad matchups. Where you're good against the run, your front seven's pretty solid, but on the back end you might not be as solid, or vice versa. You're good on the back end, but your front seven is not quite as where you want it to be. I feel like we're pretty well balanced, and that's why our defense has been successful. Minus one game this year, where again in the NLC you better bring it every night, or it could get ugly fast. So. I'm excited. I know the coaches are excited. I hope the fans are excited. I hope they come out and support these seniors that have represented Wawasee well in all areas. If the last two games are any indication, you're going to get your money's worth. You're $7 a ticket?
And I still have an adrenaline rush from last night's game.
Yeah, I mean, it was exciting. It's exciting for everybody. It's exciting for coaches. It's exciting for the fans. It's exciting for the players. And it's competition. It's what high school football is all about.
Well, thank you for joining us this morning, Coach. That is a wrap for this week's Coach's Corner Football Show with Coach Jon Reutebuch. Join us next Saturday at our regularly scheduled time of 11 a.m. and catch up on previous Coach's Corner show on demand on YouTube at CPG-TV. This has been the Coach's Corner Football Show on 93.7 FM The Mix.